town bank to get a loan to restore his business, his livelihood, and his dignity. The bank said no. However, it was a white man, Mr. Lutz, who lent my dad the money to rebuild. And this aspect of the story is what's most important. As Dr. King stated in his letters from a Birmingham jail, in a real sense, all life is interrelated. All men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. What affects one directly affects all of us indirectly. And I cannot be all I ought to be until all of you are all you ought to be. And you cannot be all you ought to be until I'm all I ought to be. This is the inescapable framework for reality. What Mr. Lutz understood, in addition to his incredible compassion, was that wealth inequalities are bad for all Americans. This is something I believe we can all agree on. Wealth disparities are a drag on our economy as a whole and negatively affects the household income of every single American. In this May, we must look forward together. And right here in Minnesota, we're setting an example for the entire nation through our special purpose credit programs, which make it easier for prospective homeowners and small businesses to get loans. And through our partnership with Operation Hope, we're raising credit scores through financial education and coaching. So today, as we honor Dr. King, let us remember the resilience of those who came before us. Let us carry their spirit forward. Let us continue to fight for a world that reflects our shared values of justice and equality, and a world that affords genuine opportunity for everyone. Let us go forward in service. Enjoy the rest of the program, and happy MLK Day.
Governor Walz, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, and Mr. Cunningham, we thank you so much for your commitment and your contribution to this program and to our state and our communities. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. Once more, again, everyone, let's celebrate our host and our sponsor this morning. Now we've come to the time in our program where we get to hear from our elected officials, and we're grateful for all of their service and sacrifice to our state and to our communities. Now, I know many people in years past this event, I'm told, have lamented the extended length of this program. You all know that our elected officials are quite eloquent and quite passionate, and that can take us well into the afternoon hours. We want to honor the holiday and honor your time today, so we've made a pivot, an adjustment, if you don't mind, to receive our elected officials in a little different way. This year, we are reminding ourselves to keep youth at the forefront and the center of everything that we do. And so we've invited several talented and amazing young people from across the state to take the lead in this portion of the program. Our youth traveled to the state capitol to gather answers to some very important questions, such as, what does Dr. King's dream mean to you? And what are you doing to keep Dr. King's legacy alive? Let's take a look and listen to what our youth learned that day at the Capitol.
So I'm your Attorney General. My name's Keith Ellison. And if I could not be Attorney General if it weren't for Martin Luther King, because he started a movement that allowed Black people like us to be able to participate fully in society. Before that, you couldn't. And so he set up a civil rights movement. He led a civil rights movement with literally millions of other people. And that's why we're talking today, and that's super important.
What's your dream and how does it connect to Dr. King's?
My dream is that the United States can become the beloved community that Dr. King envisioned for us, a place where everybody has the freedom and the opportunity to be their true selves, to be the person that they want to be. And we have a lot of work left to make that dream a reality, but I think about that every day when I go to work.
My dream has always been to just to make a difference. As corny as that sounds, it's the truth. that I've always just wanted to make a difference. So it didn't matter what I was doing. The question always was, are you making a difference? Are you giving your all? That's been my dream. So now I'm in the legislature, and remember that I was one of the individuals who always said I would never run for office. So now I've learned to never say never. So I can't say that I was really strategic in getting to the place of space where I am, because I never thought I would run for office in the first place. So I never imagined becoming president of the Minnesota Senate.
Dr. King was so inspirational to me and really guided me into wanting to be what I became as a lawyer and as somebody who's involved in public policy. I remember learning about the Civil Rights Act and how Dr. King and the activism of that time really pushed the political leaders to do something. And I thought that the civil rights work in the country wasn't done, and I wanted to be part of that. And it seemed like if I went to law school, that I could be part of maybe making things more equal and more fair.
If you were Dr. Martin Luther King, what would you do?
Oh, it's a great question. What I loved about Martin Luther King is that he focused on regular people, right? People in their neighborhoods, people who, everyday neighbors, right? And in my job, I get to work with people that are working with a city or their school or a county. So I think that what I like most about what he was doing is I want to work with regular people like you who want to just make your neighborhood better.
I would probably fight for equality for everyone. What do you do to keep Dr. King's dream still alive?
Dr. King's dream is really about all of us living together in peace and in harmony. So one of the ways I continue to do that, especially in my work at the legislature, is ensuring that we have policies that make sure every person in Minnesota live the life that they want to live, get the education they want to receive, get the type of job they want to get, so that way they can create a life for themselves and their family. So that's how I try to keep Dr. King's dream alive.
I think my dream has always been to just be able to help people, and more importantly, to be able to pass on to my children a step ahead of where I started life. And again, all of the political doors, all the economic doors, all the job opportunity doors, all of those things that I just was born taking for granted that they're open. I think they're all directly tied to the legacy of the work that Dr. King literally gave his life for.
I've always believed that everyone should have opportunity. And maybe some of that came, a lot of the senators in this place, this fancy place that I work in. But what I did have was this big belief is that everyone should have the opportunity to achieve their dreams. And that's why Martin Luther King's dream, that you should be able to succeed no matter where you're from, and that you should not be able to only have a racial equality, but you should also be able to have economic equality, was really important to me.
What does Dr. King's dream mean to you?
He helped make everyone, you don't look at someone or look at your neighbor and say, oh, they're different because they look different. Someone could look different but be a very kind person. Or you could look at someone and they could be a very smart person. Just because of the way they're colored does not mean that they're not smart enough, they're not enough.
Well, I think my dream is for a Minnesota where everyone has opportunity, can live full and meaningful lives. And I think that every generation has a responsibility to make more progress from the generation before, but also not to pretend that the work is done, right?
Exactly.
My dream is to make sure that everyone has a voice. That's what I do in my job. I oversee the elections in Minnesota, so my dream is to make sure that all the people who can participate in elections do that they take advantage of that they use their power, they use their voice, and that they vote in elections.
Why is it important for his dream to stay alive?
Well, Dr. King's dream was that each and every person would be valued for who they are. Each and every person would have an opportunity in this country. And I appreciate this about Dr. King. He extended it around the world, that no child should go hungry. No child should live without a home. No child should not have access to basic health care. And everyone should be able to live and thrive to their best of their ability. And when he recognized that in our country, that wasn't true yet, that we knew black students of color, were not given the same opportunity. They were shuffled to other schools. The funding wasn't there. And I think Dr. King's dream was to try and make it sure that every single child and every single family had that opportunity to thrive. So now more than ever, I want to live in a world where things look like Dr. King was talking about. I don't want to live in a world where some have and some have not.
Dr. King wanted the best for everybody in the United States, no matter where they lived, no matter what the color of their skin was, no matter, how they lived. And as a state senator, that's really kind of what I do as well. I might live in the metro area, but I'm really concerned about what happens in greater Minnesota and rural Minnesota. I'm really interested in how we can make good change for our folks of color. My grandfather was from the Standing Rock Nation, and so I'm really passionate about addressing issues for our Native American, our indigenous people, but that doesn't mean that I don't also want to ensure that every kid gets a really good education, that everybody has health care, that everybody has an opportunity to speak their mind and speak their truth. And those are the kind of things that really, I think I take away from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Why is it important that we continue to celebrate Dr. King?
I think it's important because his vision was great for our country. I mean, for everyone to be treated fairly, for everyone to be treated equitably. You wouldn't be treated differently because of the color of your skin, that we'd all have the ability to achieve our highest potential without any barriers.
I think it's important to continue to celebrate Dr. King because his dream needs to continue to be fought for and realized by each generation. And when we talk about health justice, racial justice, economic justice, that is about undoing the systems that currently exist, that keep people stuck, that keep people down, and the folks who are perverting his dream in this moment are benefiting from those systems and structures. So we have to be real about what it was that he actually fought for, the organizing work that happened around it, and all of the roles that people had in this movement.
What is one piece of advice that you would give our younger generation to kind of continue to celebrate Martin Luther King, but to maybe push forward their own dreams and narratives?
Building those relationships, listening to one another, and having the different is just different. Different is not wrong, and what can we learn from that together? I would say that kind of a mindset, to trust your dreams and trust your voice. Right.
How are you able to ensure, and what are your plans to make sure that his legacy and his work can continue in the future?
In honoring Dr. King, making sure that what he did is not forgotten, we honor his legacy, meeting the needs of all people. Because again, there are many spaces that Dr. King would go into that wasn't always pleasant, but he always had the courage to be able to stand up for others. And I think by having that voice, we honor his courage and his legacy to build a foundation for us to move forward.
You guys, Martin Luther King had a dream. I'd like to know what your dream is. What is your dream?
My dream is to have gas-free cars so we don't put more gas in the air.
So you want a cleaner environment?
My dream is to be the second Black woman to go to the moon.
Well, all right. That means you got to study math, science, all that. And how about you, Dario?
My dream is to make it to OTE.
This is great. And there have been many great athletes who have also been civil rights people, like Muhammad Ali, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Great athletes who also cared about society. I hope you're like them.
Come on, we can do better than that. Let's celebrate our young people. Let's renew our commitment to invest in their dreams, their potential, their hopes. We're so grateful. Was that a little better than the last year? You all like that format? Like hearing from our young people alongside of our elected officials. Listen, as we continue to be reminded of the fact that our future is in good hands, now we get to welcome back to the stage some other talented young people. You just heard from them earlier, but we're so delighted to welcome the Fair Crystal School Choir back to the stage. Fair Crystal School in the Robbinsdale School District is known as a beacon of 21st century learning, grounded in equity and defined by arts and academic excellence, where all students achieve through the integration of the arts, technology, cultural understanding, and active and committed community partners. And these students have worked very hard. It's not easy to stand before a crowd of this size, and so I want us to make them feel welcome, to celebrate them, and to pour our love on them. Won't you help me as we welcome them back to the stage and as we get prepared to receive a blessed and amazing musical selection from the Fair Crystal School Choir. Give it up for them one more time as they come.
So we're going to do this in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. In honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. In honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day, we're going to stand up for what we stand for. And there are many of us who stand here in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And if we have to lead our voices and keep doing what we're doing today, we are not going to allow people to steal what we are here for today. We will stand for what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stands for. And we are going to raise our voices, just what we're doing right now, in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. Today, we will not sit down at all for any injustices. Keep clapping, keep standing, let your voices be known, because this is what we are about. We will not stop leading in this space. Thank you. And thank you, students, because you've learned a lesson today. Thank you. We never stand alone. And when we come together as a people and stand together, we will always fight injustice. And if we have to continue to do it again, we will. And we are going to make space for our wonderful students who are going to perform today. Thank you so very much.
I wasn't going to speak, but I just want to let my students know how proud I am of them in this moment. And I think it's so appropriate that the song that we're going to sing, the chorus says, I matter, you matter, we matter. And it's not that we're ignoring the voices of the people that need to be heard. We just want you to know that we all matter. And we know that there are people that are struggling. We know that people are going through. But today, we should be working towards a peaceful agreement, a peaceful environment, if not for anybody, but for our children and for our grandchildren. So with that being said, the students of FAIR, and I'll just tell you a little bit about them. I know this wasn't on the program, but these are 6th through 8th graders. I teach about 300 choir students, and these students were selected to sing here today because they showed me that they wanted to. So I brought them. And so we will sing a song called Powerful, and the words are very powerful. So thank you so much.
People been talking about it. We won't just stand here in silence. Can't stop the fire from rising, rising. Whoa, whoa. People, don't you be afraid. So many innocents slain. This is an era for change, change. Malcolm's probably turning in his grave. Every shade was beautifully made and powerful. There's so much strength in you and me. Powerful. A breath away from victory. I matter, you matter, we matter all. I matter, you matter, we matter all. Powerful. I see a colorful future where skin don't define any human. And stars are the only thing shooting, shooting. Whoa, whoa. Mothers who bury their child. How can we sit there and hide? Change comes it all, take a stand now. Stand up, stand up. Martin's speech still echoes in my brain. Every shape was beautifully made and powerful. There's so much strength in you and me. Powerful. A breath away from victory. I matter, you matter, we matter all. I matter, you matter, we matter all. Powerful. Powerful.
Powerful. There's so much strength in you and me. Powerful. A breath away from victory. I matter. I matter. You matter. We matter all. Powerful. Powerful.
Thank you so much, Fair Crystal School Choir, for reminding us that we all matter and reminding us of the sacred dignity of all of us who are gathered in this place, and for reminding us all that we hope to be. We're grateful. This is a multi-generational gathering today, and so now that we've heard from our young people, we get to invite now back the Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church Choir that I'm so proud and excited to introduce. For those of you who don't know, Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church is an amazing beacon of hope located in North Minneapolis. This church of 1,000 Black-centered and multiracial folks are dedicated to sharing and fostering God's love throughout the North Minneapolis community and beyond. And music sits at the center of so much what we do because we believe in the healing power of music. It heals our souls, comforts our spirits, and this amazing choir of dedicated volunteers and a talented band have helped so many in times of trial and grief and heartache. They are always there to sing and remind and offer words of hope, comfort, and wisdom that lift our spirits and prepare us for the week ahead. So we're grateful to welcome them under the direction of Shauna Moses and Grammy winner Billy Steele. Won't you help me celebrate again the Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church Choir.
Teach you what your ancestors' name. I wish there was a phone number like 1-800 Save Your Brother. Thankful for the radio station, not afraid to put the truth in rotation. There is certain conversations that you can only get in conversation with young people. Talk to old people, it would make us a better people all around. Yes, it would. And if old people would talk to young people, it would make us a better people all around. Yes, it would. We went from radio to TV, now we're going from LP to CD. Don't be afraid to try something new. Yeah, I can help you with the brand new technology. Can help me with the age-old philosophy. Together there's so much we can do with young people. Talk to, it will make us a better people all around. Yes, it would. If old people would talk to young people, it would make us a better people all around. Yeah. They say every generation gets worse. They call it a generational curse. But these problems don't just fall from the sky. Yeah, listen to Mahatma Gandhi's words. Be the change you want to see in the world. Start with yourself and healing will multiply. With young people, talk to old people. It would make us a better people all around. Oh, yes, it would. If old people would talk to young people, better people all around. Oh, yeah. And if black people would talk to white people, it would make us a better people all around. Yeah. If Republican people would talk to Democratic people, it would make us diplomatic people all around. Yeah. It would make us all around.
Do you feel better today? We want to honor that was Fellowship Choir featuring Monique Blakely, and we thank God for her leading us in that wonderful song and selection. Now we come to the heart of our program. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Stephanie Barrage to the stage as she comes to introduce our Fireside Chat special guest. As she makes her way to the stage, I want to take a moment to acknowledge her tremendous efforts. Last year, Governor Walz recommended Dr. Barrage as Minnesota's first Chief Equity Officer. She is responsible Dr. Barrage is responsible for working with the governor's office and the cabinet to create the new Equity and Opportunity Office, connecting external stakeholders with state government partners for the purpose of achieving equity and opportunity for everyone in the state of Minnesota. Coming into this role, Dr. Barrage and her team took on the responsibility of supporting the Council on the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday in an effort to amplify the many voices and perspectives across our state. And they've transformed this celebration into a week-long event celebrating different audiences and interests. It's safe to say that Dr. Barrage, you've hit the ground running. We are proud of you. We thank God for you. Welcome back.
All right, thank you very much. We are so glad that everyone is here today, and we've got a lot of things going on right now. My heart is full. Whenever we have students that are here in the house, I always like to acknowledge that they are the future for us, and we always need to give them a round of applause. So let's give them a round of applause. So let me say this, and for anyone who knows me, my notes are not here right now, and I am never one to kind of hide behind things, so we're going to go with what we have right now. If someone could make sure that my notes get here, that'll be great, but we are going to start because I can make it happen when it needs to happen. So I get to introduce our first person who's going to help moderate today. This is Dallas Downey. This student is amazing. Let him come to the stage. Dallas Downey is just awesome. He is a student at Hopkins High School. You can read through the program and see his bio. He is just amazing. And this student is one of our future leaders, and we just knew he had to be here today to make sure that he could moderate and show you what the future holds. So Dallas Downey, please come to the stage. All right. Next, we have Houston White Jr. Houston White Jr. is special to me, and I'm going to date my age a little bit because Houston White Jr. was my former student, middle school student. He is doing a lot in the Camden neighborhood. He is literally creating space for people to come together, for you to see their humanity. And I am so pleased today that Houston White Jr. is here today and will be a part of our conversation. So Houston White Jr., please come to the stage. And if you make it over to his barber shop, let me tell you what you are going to see. That is the Canoe Country Club. That's where you go to have good conversation and get a little coffee. Now, I don't drink coffee, but I do go for the sweet potato steamed milk. So it is amazing over there. All right, Houston, so glad to see you and have much love. Next, Caroline Wanga. Oh my gosh. Icon. She is leading Essence Magazine, Essence Ventures. I listen to her podcast. This woman is amazing. We are so excited to have her here today. And again, she's from Minnesota as well. So we are just happy to have her in the house. Caroline A. Wanga, and we are going to get started today. Please come to the stage.
Anybody want some water? Just in case. There are plenty here.
See, this is about a family conversation. We're about to sit down and just have a family chat.
I'm home.
Oh, yes.
That's all right.
I'm an English teacher by trade, as you know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so I have to have my journal, and I'm struggling right now because I don't like to have my back to people, so I'm going to move so that we can all be seen.
That's
Thank
a
you very
teacher
much.
for you.
Yeah, that is. You teach your students that.
I
Don't
was the
have your
kid you
back.
were putting your back to.
Oh, no, I love my students. So talk to us today. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. How have both of you seen Dr. King's dream realized in Minnesota, and how and what needs to be implemented as we move into the future? And you both, either. This is conversation.
That's my daddy right there.
Well, let's say hi, Dad. Wave your hand. Dad,
Stand
where
up,
you at?
Dad. Don't
Oh, give him a round of applause. Yes.
Because you know I'd have been in trouble if I hadn't done that. Go ahead.
The mango doesn't fall far from the tree.
Come on, mango. That's how you get me. Mango, guava, passion fruits.
Yeah, we ain't doing no apples.
Yes.
How has, well, first of all, it is quite an honor to be sitting here with all three of you, but especially you two amazing women who have affected my life so tremendously in different points. Dr. Barrage was my 7th grade teacher. Literally.
I love you. You know that.
I used to skip school and she held me accountable, and actually I stopped doing that as
She
much.
was my 7th grade teacher.
Oh,
She would find me.
I would show up at your house to make sure you made it to school.
And Caroline saw me, right, when a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre had the Chronic finished.
Google it if you don't know what he's talking about.
He went to 18 labels and they said no. Can you imagine being that person that said no to Dre with the Chronic? This one right here said he got the Chronic, right? And she saw me. And I was always here. And so when you say, how has Dr. King's dream been realized? It's been realized through me.
Yeah.
I'm a product of this community. I love Minnesota. We got a lot to talk about. Right?
We got
a lot to fix.
Counseling, then I love you, then anyway.
I love this place, but it is considered the 2nd worst place in America for Black people to live by the stats. But it still produced me, right? So I'm hopeful.
Yes.
But so when you ask that question, it has been realized, it is being realized. Dialectic is a real thing here. Like it's snowing and it's spring, which happens here often. So I feel like Minnesota's in a dialectic position. We got some dualities that we got to address, but I'm honored to be here. And we got some work to do. So next year when we come back, hopefully we have rolled up our sleeves and actually talk about some action steps.
That's good stuff. You guys ever met people and you're just like, we family. I'm going in the refrigerator to get my own drink. I'm taking off my shoes. I'll be in your room asleep. Right? Like you don't even try to do the niceties. Manners don't matter when you're blood. I have to start with being here. Depending on what you know about my life, I've lived here for 30 years. Like I'm not visiting Minnesota. I was born in Kenya and I lived in Minnesota longer than I've lived in Kenya. 30 years I was here. So the essence thing is cute. We doing it? Okay.
We doing it.
But you saw me at 1298 Fifield Place in Falcon Heights next to the State Fair when my father came here to do his doctorate degree. You saw me in the Rondo neighborhood on Grotto. You saw me on 16th and Emerson over North. You saw me on Lake and Cedar over South. You saw me in Farmington, Minnesota. I probably look confused. It was different terrain. It wasn't quite like the north side. Just wanted to. You saw me when I found out I was pregnant on the University of Minnesota campus. You saw me when I couldn't afford care, and so I was at the Green Central Clinic so that I could get prenatal care. You saw me when I gave birth to my daughter at Fairview Riverside, and I would have had an insurmountable amount of medical debt, had Fairview not had a program to forgive cost. You saw me when I graduated from Edison High School in 1995. You did. I was there. I don't want to hear nothing about North right now. We're going to talk about that later.
You already know what it is.
Whatever, Tommy's for life. You saw me when I started a semester at Hamline University on a track scholarship. You saw me when I stood and served you popcorn at General Cinema in the Mall of America while I was pregnant. You just couldn't tell. You saw me when I worked at Campfire Boys and Girls doing development work for children in both Minneapolis and St. Paul. You saw me when I worked at the YMCA over north doing the Learn and Earn program. You saw me when I worked at Turning Point. You saw me when I went to this place that only the people who are my age who have signed an NDA will ever tell you about, but it always ended at Perkins on Riverside at 2 a.m. If you know, you know. We see each other. Now I know who my friends are. The people that didn't clap was like, what is Perkins? Don't worry about it, baby. It was a club. That was me up at First Avenue when I had a fade, better than most fellas fade. I'm the girl you hollered at. But you also saw me when I was probably the third worst community chair ever of the Minneapolis NAACP, but I was just less worse. You saw me when I left Minnesota to go to a HBCU that had a program for young children partially funded by the Minnesota UNCF. And then you saw me when a company called the Target Corporation brought me home. And then you saw me run around outside like I didn't work there and run around inside like I'm from here, because that's rare too. And then you sent me off with the gifts of everything you gave me when you saw me over that 30 years. Everything you gave me, you send me off on voyage to now be Minnesota's ambassador to the world for Black.
Yes, 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 yes.
I am severely underqualified for that job on paper, but I am overqualified in love and community.
Yes, yes.
And I learned that here. Houston and I don't talk to each other. We just do these nonverbal conversations. I'd be like, see what I told you, right? And most of you guys that are friends with me know that language. It's usually me trying not to cuss, but that's a different session. So why do I say that? There are so many quotes out there from Dr. King that people recognize. I am in a stage of my life where everything that I tried to make small because of how it did not bring good feelings is being dismantled. And so you could argue that my journey to authenticity is what Brother Langston Hughes called a dream deferred. But when I think about Dr. King, and this was in one of the about the Vietnam War, but it is a quote that speaks to me differently in this stage of my life, which is he was talking about the Vietnam War, but this quote applies beyond that. He said, we need to move away from being a thing society and become a people society. And he said that in 1967. How are we doing on that, y'all? Why is that still relevant? So my journey to authenticity, as I think about its connection to Martin Luther King, is to maybe this decade and in my time on this earth, we can make that a truth, and that quote is no longer relevant, but it feels way too relevant right now, y'all. He said in 1967, we ought to be a people society, not a thing society, and we are a bigger thing society than we were when he said it. And so Brother Langston talks about a dream deferred. What you see in Houston and I, and if Langston was alive, I would ask him to write another one. What you are looking at is two people who very well could have been a dream deferred. But we stand in front of you, a dream undeferred, because when we hadn't yet discovered the greatness within ourselves, when we didn't understand what we were supposed to do in the world, when we were worried about money and children and First Avenue and Perkins, and when we were still meeting ourselves, who held the dream for us? You. So if this community had not held the dream that I couldn't see when I thought my life was over at 17 in terms of what I wanted to do, if somebody hadn't held the truth of what was possible for me when I couldn't hold it and hadn't done the same for Houston, then you would be talking to people who are dream deferred. But now you're talking to people who are a dream undeterred.
I love it. I love it.
And if you can do this, you can do more.
Oh,
we need more of this. And we're this because of what you held for us until we could do us. So please go see the girl on the 80 to the Mall of America who has a blue stroller and is trying to get her little baby onto the bus so she can go to work.
See her.
And don't just give her money, give her a ride.
Say that.
Because it's cold outside. And my baby's gonna get sick. And I don't have insurance. But I gotta go to work. See me. Because what you do when you see me, and more importantly, what you didn't do when I saw me, will determine if the next Caroline has a dream deferred or a dream undeterred. That is what Martin Luther King's legacy means to me.
I love it. What's great about everyone here, this is a multi-generational stage.
I'm Gen Z. What you mean?
I'm ahead of you. I'm ahead of you. Remember, I'm his teacher, so that makes me older. And
I still want to see some ID.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And we have Dallas here. And so Dallas.
Yes!
Dallas.
Give a hand to Dallas, please.
Yes.
You can be Gen Z, Dallas. I'll let you be Gen Z.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tell us, Dallas, a little bit about what you've been doing before you ask your next question, because that ties into what you're going to ask them. What are you doing?
So I am a Afro-Indigenous artist over here in Minneapolis. Yes, thank you. Recently, I worked on a campaign called No Kids in Prison. It was an international art exhibit. We wanted to highlight the problems that we face in this city where youth incarceration is such a big deal. So many youth get put in this system and marked for life and traumatized by this system. And that's what I've been focusing my life on for the past few months, just ending those systems. And, you know, being in community and being with so many amazing people through all these events, it really warms my heart to see that the community cares about the future and they care about the youth. And my question for you guys is, as a youth, did you guys participate in any MLK events growing up here?
I'm still a youth. What you mean?
I know that's right.
You know, I did. I was a little traumatized every time MLK Day came along. I'm gonna just be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm 4th through 7th grade. What I saw constantly replayed on television was "I Have a Dream," click, boom, right? And so I'm like, did this man do more than dream and get murdered? And I saw that constantly, like, so most times when MLK Day came, which we had the day off of school,
always win,
I couldn't sleep. And so I would stay up all night and then sleep most of the day. And, you know, I think about that, like, I wish I would have known the Dr. King that moved his family into the housing tenement. I wish I would have known the Dr. King that was, I mean, they would have been showing this stuff. And so I could have related to, my family's from the South. I love to take vacations, but the Dr. King that was taking vacations in West Pikes. I'm from Mississippi, man, from the bottom, you know? But, you know, I participated in a few events, but for me, honestly, it wasn't until I became an older man and started to understand the revolutionary Dr. King, the one that I'm more aligned with, before I really started to participate in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I've shared before, I was born in Kenya, came to the US around the age of 10 to Minnesota as a therapy session of its own. In junior high, the gauntlet of life. And because of that transition, a lot of the historic narrative that people learn in school based on things that are just true in the US are deferred, right? Like they're later, because I came here in 6th grade, and you guys probably knew, if you grew up here, who at least Martin Luther King was by 6th grade, right? And I was learning it then, having come from another country. So there's a privilege and a disadvantage to that, but the privilege of it was I got to study it through the lens of choice, right? Because I was learning it in the moment, but it had been true for others for longer. And so I wasn't this enlightened in the 6th grade, but what I can tell you it created was a moment where nobody told me this, but I decided it. I got to decide what I wanted his legacy to be for me because I was learning about it at 10 for the first time. So I could do that processing of, okay, he was a really great man. He's changed this country for people. He is so highly regarded. He was tragically killed. What am I gonna do about that? Now, 6th through 10th grade, I didn't spend a lot of time on that question. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I was caught up in high school and there's fun to be had. Like, just be real. When I was your age, I had not started any program, including the ones I was supposed to attend. So I'm not gonna pretend like I was this enlightened 16-year-old. I was just trying to stop from getting my license because my mom was gonna make me drive my brothers around. And then I was in sports, right? So track and field and other things were where my life was going. I was gonna be Jackie Joyner Kersey. I don't care what I look like now. So by the time I had to reconcile it again, it was at the point that I was in this community doing community work. 7 years of my background here is nonprofit, y'all. I wasn't born in corporate. And so when community work became my work, subconsciously those two things became connected. I'm operating in service of his legacy in the job that I do. And then after that, I worked at a corporation. After I went to, by the way, actually the second one was at a HBCU. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's the best thing in the world. But I left here to go to a HBCU, and then I was blackety, blackety, black, and so was MLK. And then I came back and worked at a corporation, and this was where the dissonance came. Because I worked for a retailer, and we didn't have the day off.
And that still happens today in places.
So now it became, why am I pissed that we don't have the day off? But if the day off isn't about not working and it's about working, then what do I want to do? And so Target and others had these programs where people will go volunteer and whatever, but I leave that as my last spot because I got angry because I didn't have the day off. Like that was where my trepidation was? Come on. King didn't get a day off. He had to do it as he was living and being and working, so can I. So what that started was this indignant pursuit of underground meetings about how black talent's gonna be more successful at Target. What that created was trying to ensure that in my role in DEI, the performance of the groups that were underrepresented, it was not okay that they were doing better than black, and people don't want to say the word, so I gave a PowerPoint deck. If Tia Whitlock and Kira Fernandez are in here, I remember I was sitting with the chief HRO at Target, and I gave her a deck, and the first line on it was, no more 400 years. And so my work in DEI was on behalf of all communities. My legacy for King was black. I probably would not have been on Essence's radar if I hadn't made the decision to find my authenticity in that job, and if I hadn't been unafraid to do for all, but focus on black at the risk of my own self-preservation. And now I get to be blackety, blackety, black every day.
Every day.
And I'm a thank Dr. Martin.
Wait, all right.
And I get to turn it into celebration now. It's not a bad thing, it's a dope thing. Who's the next is my focus.
So as you say that, You also talk about, you both talk about this, and I heard you talk about this. If you have not failed like 5 times, then it's not a good day, because you live in the space of being okay with yourself. So I want you both to talk about that as you're living, as you're breathing, as you're doing all of these creative things. How do you handle that space of failure? What would you say to the youth about failing?
Blame the people who taught you what fail meant.
For real.
I am often mistaken to be a confident person. I'm not. I'm actually one of the least confident people you ever meet. Don't try to talk me out of it, because that's part of how I learned the wrong lessons. Accept my truth. Don't tell me I'm confident when I tell you I'm not, because you don't want me to say it. It's my words. It's my life. So what are you observing when you think you're seeing confidence? It's courage. It's the willingness to take the consequence. It's the understanding of what may not be possible for me because I got to do this every day. It's that place where I go, I ain't got it today, but nobody's not going to be able to get up today because I didn't get up today. So if I got to crawl and just touch, I can't say I can't do something today. A lot of that work of operating in the defiant courage of your own fear brought up this topic of failure that I had accepted as it had been defined for me as the thing that you try not to do. When you do it, cover it up, hide it, hope nobody saw it, bribe them not to tell about it, and pretend it never happened. And then present perfection, please. Don't you dare tell your story with what didn't go right. You better be a superhero. And so my work to re-find myself that started at 36 years old when my daughter left the house and I'd ended a relationship, and for the first time I had to live alone. I had no idea who I was. I was at the top of a Fortune 500 company, and I didn't have hobbies. I didn't know what to do if I wasn't going to a volleyball tournament. I didn't know what to do. And so I had to reconcile with myself. And in that journey, I had to decide if the failures of my life were going to continue to hold me hostage. Specifically the one where I had a child and everybody started to renegotiate my potential without my permission. And I listened to what you said with your eyes when I was standing on Bloomington and Lake. I listened to what you said when my daughter was crying in the aisle, but I was trying to buy groceries and you wanted her to be quiet. I listened to your eyes. I listened to your eyes. I listened to your eyes. I listened to those people who didn't call me anymore as if pregnancy is contagious. Because people were ashamed to be affiliated with me. So there was a lot to resolve. And the only way I could live with it was to accept its power. So over a lot of time, and I'm still working on it, I just had to redefine my relationship with it, because it was never going to be not there. Dallas, please do not ever let anybody tell you that failure doesn't happen. It does.
That's right. That's right.
But it's not bad. Because if you can redefine your relationship with it, then you can have a fail. You get to decide what that is. Nobody else gets to decide for you. You can have a bank for how many you get in a day. 5. For me, type A is fine, 3, whatever, you'll be fine. And then what happens is, no matter if the fail happens, I may be pissed, but what I'm supposed to do with my purpose for the rest of the day doesn't get compromised because of that. I got 4 more. I got 3 more. I got 2 more. I got 1 more and should probably go to bed. 6 failed days do happen. But the decision to live off 5 fails a day was just a proclamation and activism action with my authenticity to say, I am particularly proficient at failing. I am world class, top 1%. Don't waste that skill. What I'm not is going to continue to pretend I can't handle it. So I established 5 fails a day so that Caroline could get through activating her purpose and authenticity in a day And while I may be pissed, and Debbie, I don't want to talk to you again today, Debbie doesn't get to stop me from driving what I was supposed to do for Dallas. So Dallas, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to pick a number. Tell me a number.
8.
Okay? So Dallas, can you fail 8 times in a day for me, please?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
And then, when you fail 8 times in a day, can you please still call it an awesome day? Can you do that for me?
Of course.
Because here's what, and I need you to do that because I discovered it too late. If you start it now, it's no longer a philosophy, it's a new truth for humanity. And I need you to be that kind of activist where people forget that failure needs a threshold and it just becomes how we live. And the reason why you are qualified to do that is because at 16, you're worried about kids in prison. And I was buying cotton candy. So baby, at 16, you're doing that. You get 45 fails because you are changing the world. And if you can just keep changing the world, you're going to meet failure. But if you can please not stop changing the world. Everybody that comes after Dallas knows no reality where failure gets in their way. They know it as a propellant to purpose. I need you to do that. Touch and agree?
Oh, see? Oh my gosh. So, Houston, on the same topic, life has not been easy. It never is. How have you managed to ride the waves, to deal with the failures?
Yeah, I look at my mom. I look at the reality of the village that raised me and all the stuff that they endured. So at 40 years old, it was the very first time I lived alone because my wife died.
Didn't know that.
And the reality, I love to entertain. And I remember going to the store. Well, I remember writing out the menu, going to the store, coming home, prepping, cooking, getting dressed, entertaining, serving, cleaning. And I'm like, I used to be so selfish because this happened for me every single day. And I had no clue, no thought about going to the fridge and it's just full. Hitting the switch and the lights just come on. Mom figuring out all of those insane things that I wanted for school and just they magically appear. And so when I think about failure or the struggle, I tap into the legacy of the people that raised me and say, how dare I complain? And I'm truly living through all of their sacrifice. And at this point, because I've had such great success and such great loss, I've been to the top and the very bottom. Now I'm pouring into these youngsters, right? And trying to make sure that they understand, ask the question. There is no such thing as failure because there's somebody who's gone before you that has struggled and done that same thing. So tap into the generational excellence. We talk about at the shop, we need the 20-year-old needs the 40-year-old, the 40-year-old needs the 60-year-old, the 60-year-old needs the 80-year-old, and vice versa. So
And the shop is the country club, correct?
the shop is
Thank
the
you. I wanna
country
make sure.
club.
It's country club.
The Black Man's Country Club that has expanded to welcome everybody into that space. And this is what we do, right? We share. I love that we're sitting here with Dallas. I still can't believe you were my teacher and you don't look at the data. But sitting here, this is generational knowledge. And this is how we mitigate, not failure because we need it. I remember the first time I built a $500,000 house and it was a ½ inch out of square at the foundation. And the OG said, we got to fix this. He said, if you don't, it's going to be 2 feet out of square by the time you get up to the roof. This is, and I listened, thank God. But this is the work of our time to get more interconnected so we could transfer the lessons, so we can mitigate not failure, but the sting of it.
Ooh, the sting of it. Please.
Dallas. Trust, right? Okay, look at me. I'm not going to do anything. You have a program. Say the name of your program again.
No Kids in Prison.
Remind the audience what it does.
No Kids in Prison, the international immersive art exhibit working to free the future for youth and everybody else.
What is the biggest problem you're facing in your program right now?
Wow.
Trust.
I think the problem we face is lack of listening. People don't want to listen to what children have to say because we are viewed as less than or inferior, and we have a lot we have to say.
So Dallas, if that is the biggest, first of all, you have a program at 16. Again, but if the biggest problem you're facing is that people don't listen to people your age, and I could make everybody in this room do something about it, what would you ask them to do about that problem? Tell them.
I would tell everybody to get educated and stay educated. Spread the knowledge, spread the love and the kindness, and just open your minds to this free future that we're dreaming of.
Do you need funding?
Yes.
Do you need...
Always. Wait, I need you to say that stronger. Stronger, Dallas.
Dallas,
yes.
I give you money.
Stronger.
Listen.
Yes, Dallas.
Do you need funding?
Yes.
How much do you need?
Ooh,
Say double. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Say it, Dallas.
This is me.
50,000.
Let me tell you why I'm doing this, y'all. This is what air cover looks like.
That's right.
How much do you need? Tell them.
50,000.
No, no, wait. Stop telling him. I'm proving a point. Stop yelling at him about what he just said. People don't listen to him because he's young people. I ask him how much he needs, and y'all are telling him. Let him tell you. How much do you need?
I would say $50,000, $75,000.
$50,000 to $75,000. What else do you need?
We need people with open minds, open ears, and open hearts to help us build this free future and free the youth that are incarcerated right now.
Can this community get Dallas $50,000, please?
All right now.
By the end of this week.
Okay.
Don't clap if you're not going to give money. So I'm going to ask the question again, because if you clap it, I'm coming to you for a check for Dallas, and I'm not playing. Because we keep pretending we care about our community until it threatens our self-preservation. That's why we're failing. You clap.
That's right.
But write a check.
That's right.
So stop clapping again. Stop. Clap. Or do y'all have cameras? I'm going to figure out how to find out who clapped. But I'm not going to look at y'all. I can't see you up there. I'm just looking at the light.
It's hard.
I'm going to ask a very intentional question again. And if you put your hands together, you better be cutting a check. I won't judge you if you ain't clapping, but I will if you clap and don't give a check. Who has a contribution that they will offer today? I will stand with Dallas in front of this stage when we're done to collect it. Who has a, don't clap yet. Who has a financial contribution that Dallas can put in his hand before we leave today towards his $50,000 goal? Clap if that's you. So here's what you're gonna do. When we're done here, I'm gonna stand right up here with Dallas. And you better bring that money up here. That's not a threat, it's an obligation, community.
Ooh, come on now.
This ain't comfortable no more. Our children are dying. We will be right here. And we'll see how serious you are. Because Dallas can't ask you this. I asked him, what does he need? And he altruistically answered the question. When I gave him permission to ask for what he needs, you clapped for him. I'll see you at the end of the session. That's what community looks like.
I'm loving this. Loving this.
And Dallas, you better take every check. None of this humble nonsense.
And trust I will.
Thank you. Auntie said, no, I'm your sister. Jency?
Well, that leads us into our Minnesota Nice conversation.
Oh, yeah, and you can drop checks off in Houston shop, too.
So wait, and that's kind of leading into one of our, as Dallas and I talked prior to this, that's the next question. How have you navigated, you just kind of opened the door to it, but the Minnesota Nice. How do you navigate that?
I'm gonna let Houston talk about that. I don't live here no more.
How do you navigate Minnesota Nice?
I personally don't. I don't. You know how like you know a secret and you and a couple people know and maybe other people don't know? And the secret I know is the beauty of being communal and the importance of embracing difference to grow personally, professionally, corporately, right? And the reality is that Black culture is magic. You sprinkle it on anything authentically and it just grows stuff. It changes the way it's felt. And the reality is I am an unapologetically conscientious capitalist.
What that mean? No, I'm asking for the audience. It's not a joke.
That means that I'm a young kid that grew up in the era where folks were selling illicit product to get things to impress people. So the village said to me, we respect your hustle, but we got to put something different in your hands so you can get what you want. And so the consciousness is that I don't sell things to damage people to get what I want. And I'm unapologetic about that. So when you say Minnesota nice, it's like when people say teach your kids to swim as a life skill, right? Every kid for the first time in American history, kids under the age of 15 are majority minority. So Minnesota nice, right? Like on whatever side it lives. What's that joke that people in Minnesota will give you?
People who live in Minnesota will give you directions to anywhere except their house. I didn't make it up. I heard it in corporate America from somebody.
But the joke's on the person that doesn't want folks to come to their house. Because like a life skill of swimming, right? And imagine if you're ever faced with the reality that you need to swim. Well, if you're not preparing your kids for the world that is browning, they are at a deficit. So it's no longer a nice to do. It's a survival skill. So when I say I don't deal with it, I have empathy for people who don't embrace and understand, one, the power of my culture and lived experience, but also the fact that you need to be around different people in order to be your best and highest version of yourself.
Yeah, I stopped depending on people who don't care about me. So Minnesota nice, sure, whatever, if that helps you sleep at night. But in the reality, it's Minnesota nice here, it's passive aggressiveness somewhere else. Listen, when people tell you who they are, believe them, and then decide if you need to talk to them, because you have a finite amount of energy in the world. So the Minnesota nice that invites me somewhere, but they didn't mean it, I'll go ahead and decline just so they feel better. I'm glad I could contribute to your fragility today. But I don't hate you, I just know you. So now I can place you somewhere. So no, I'm not coming to the cabin so you can tell your friends you have a Kenyan friend. No, I'm not coming because I'm one of the 3 Black people that work at Target. Nah, you don't need me there because I'm Essence. But you know what, I'm gonna send a card in a fruit basket. Why do I say it that way? Because part of the authenticity journey is having the unmitigated gall to believe in a future that other people can't see, and it's pursuit of the purpose that you're uniquely designed to do in the world that nobody else can do, and it's not for yourself, it's for what the world needs. And so I need every ounce of energy I've got to fulfill what I'm supposed to fulfill before I leave this earth. And so you and your fake invitation and your fake hi and your you don't care can go be somebody else's friend. I'm an introvert anyway. And then on my petty days, I use it for entertainment, but that's just selfish. Because then I'll be like, hi, Nancy. What are you doing Friday? And then I'll watch her panic because she thinks she's about to have to force invite me to her house. And I'll be like, I mean, I'm free around 7. And she'll be, I work in HR, I have your address. Oh. See you Friday. Never showed up, but it was fun. Nancy is hypothetical. It was Linda.
So Dallas, what else do you want to know from them? You've got them right here with you.
I want to, if we look behind us, we see MLK and One Dream, One Minnesota. What does that mean to you guys? What does a One Dream, One Minnesota world look like to both of y'all?
It means that the work that needs to happen for this state to continue to produce Houstons and Carolines has to be comfortable with the intrusion of equity work and has to understand that self-preservation is not the goal. I don't want to hear another word about what you're going to do. I'm glad you have a plan. Holla back when you're ready to activate it. Because Minnesota, I'm not going to say, now listen, I lived here for 30 years. I live in New York now, but I lived here for 30 years, so I have earned the right to talk smack about this place. I love y'all, but we got some stuff to work on. So this isn't about me coming to judge Minnesota. I did my time. I have a right. Please stop talking. I would rather you be silent, because when you talk, I believe you. So two things I'm gonna do after you talk. Ask how I can help and wait to be activated. And every second I wait for what you said you were gonna do that you don't intend to do is a second I could have spent with somebody that's gonna do something. So y'all worried, you guys buy those light bulbs that are supposed to be more energy efficient, right? There's the ones that ain't and the ones that are, and I'm not even sure what the difference is anymore, but the packaging made me buy it. You need a light bulb. Choose which one you wanna be. Minnesotans have this urge to say something to make themselves feel better. Shut up. Stop talking. Get out of the way. Just go sit over there. I won't talk to you. There's no judgment. Can you please just move? Because we got lives to save and things to change. And the energy you are spending trying to make yourself feel better is slowing down the path to progress. Who's the administrator at Ordway? Are they here?
They're here.
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna tell you what it looks like. So I gave you a challenge for Dallas, right? Now, first of all, I'm all about economic inclusion. So yes, I have a fee to speak, because why wouldn't I get paid for my skill? The check is written out to Caroline Wanga. Ordway administrator, wherever you are, please take that check back, rewrite it, and give it in full to Dallas.
That.
It ain't none of their business how much it is, Dallas, because they gotta pay me to come the next time I speak, so.
That. That.
I have no problem being paid for what I'm worth. It took me a long time to have a price. That was part of the activism. But let's be clear, I don't need the money. I'm getting what I'm worth. Therefore, it hurts me nothing. When Dallas has said he needs $50,000 and I can make a significant dent in that, don't worry about how much I get paid. If you want me to help you do your pricing list, we can do it over coffee at your cabin. Ice fishing. One dream, one Minnesota looks like you're not hungry. You have enough food. I like to shop. I'm gonna spend whatever I want on what I buy. So I'm not gonna pretend like I'm gonna give you some of my shopping budget. That's not what happened. Dallas gives me joy. But I don't need everything I spend money on. I don't even want the tax deduction. That's why I said put it in your name. Never deposited it, Uncle Sam. But what's more important is, anytime I encounter a need, whether I live in Rochester or Grand Marais, been to both, whether I live, what's that city by North Dakota? I forgot the geography. It's that one, whatever, the one over there. I've been to every corner of this state over 30 years. I need Rochester to care about Minneapolis. I need Minneapolis to care about Grand Marais. I need Grand Marais to care about Fargo. I told y'all I'm not from here. If you know the answer, just go with the analogy. There are things I don't do well, like navigation and geography. It's over there. I didn't stay there long, that's why I forgot what it was. I might have skipped it anyway. You get my point. I am from Kenya, and there's a tribe called the Maasai. And the tribe greets each other with a very specific greeting. They don't say hello, they don't say what it do, they don't say what's up. They say, how are the children? True story, Google it. They're greeting, even if they're two adults who have just met. You're a teacher. How does it make you feel when instead of saying hello, I say, how are the children? What would your answer be?
My answer would be the children are as good as we take care of them.
Nope, too philosophical. Listen.
You told me to be my authentic self.
No. I'm going to do with you what I did Dallas.
Yes,
Trust.
yes. Wait, look, right here.
Trust.
We're not.
You're a teacher
Yes.
in Minnesota, right?
The children are not doing well.
Aha, thank you.
The children are not.
Thank you. Do you see how it changes when you're specific about the question? Yeah. You were going to give me an answer that made sense philosophically, but it wasn't.
It wasn't authentic.
So I'm going to ask you, Madam Teacher in the state of Minnesota, how are the children?
The children are not doing well. They're not.
So if you were a member of the Maasai tribe, and that's the answer you got, your obligation is to ask, what can I do about that? So if I were to say to you, what can I do about that sincerely, what would you tell me?
I'm going to actually repeat what I believe and what I share all the time. Listen, let the children be a voice to us. Give them the opportunity to have a voice so we know exactly what they need and not what we're trying to give them.
One Dream, One Minnesota is as simple as changing the greeting. Do you realize how selfish the question is, how are you? Now that I just told you what you have as an alternative? Now you're like, oh, dang, I want to be thinking about myself. I'm fine. In Minnesota, you're fine all the time, but not be nothing else. Otherwise, you're bothering me. I didn't mean the question, Minnesota nice. So, community, how are the children? I'm talking to y'all. Raise your hand if you think the children are well, sincerely. Raise your hand if you sincerely believe the children are well. I see one hand here, 2, 3, 4. The children said they're well. So I saw 4. What's the occupancy of this auditorium?
We have over 1,100 people here today.
The state of Minnesota and the question, how are the children? And only 4 people think they're well, and there are 1,100 people in this room.
We have work to do.
No, we don't have work to do. We have pathways to get out of the way if you don't want to do the work. Quit pretending. All right. And if there's 4 people who are going to do something about it, shovel the walkway so they can get through and quit pretending you're going to do anything else. We have wasted time trying to help people feel better about themselves. I don't care how you feel. The children are not well. You should feel like I feel. And if you don't want to, fine, we have choice. Go home. Because when you come to my rally about the children, I think you want to be there and you're going to do something. So One Dream, One Minnesota changed the question. I was meeting with the governor, not the governor, the mayor of Atlanta 2 years ago. And he said, my mission is to make Atlanta the safest and most thriving place for Black children. Would you vote for a mayor if they told you that was what they're going to do for Minnesota? You probably may or may not, because you don't want to violate your democratic principles for somebody who wants to make the kids better, the gall, the gumption. But at the end of the day, what I would urge One Dream, One Minnesota, the governor's office and everybody who pays the taxes that fund them, is to change the greeting. Make your greeting what's important and take action. Well, make the greeting what's important. Listen to the answer you get. Don't give a stupid answer. Give a real answer. And then if you are the recipient of that answer, do something about it that day. One Dream, One Minnesota, one Maasai one day. They ain't coming. It's too much snow. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I want to say this. Houston, I think you wanted to say something, and we're going to get ready to wrap us up.
All I wanted to say is, to that end, we have to build. I'm not interested in going to galas. I'm not interested in PowerPoints and Robert's rules. I build houses. I build brands. I build people. I build tax base. I built a neighborhood in North Minneapolis for those young professionals to live in. And if we ain't supporting that,
when?
I ain't.
4 years ago.
Say that again.
We talked about that 4 years ago and he actually did it.
That's the dream realized.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I want to say this. I don't know if you haven't grown today, but I have just by sitting here. So let's give them a round of applause because they have. Yes, I see people standing. They have helped us grow today. I am so thankful that you were able to be here today. This has made my heart full. And for Dallas, I'm going to say this again. Thank you for being here today and being a part of this. Houston, you are my student, so you are always my student. And so whenever I see him, I just get joy. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just being authentic because you have made the path for us all to be our authentic selves. Thank you.
So let me say this to you, Minnesota. I wasn't being preachy for those who are like, how does girl come in here and tell us what to do? She thinks she knows everything. No, I really only know 3 things, but here's why I'm saying this. You know what I am sitting in front of you is not somebody that has the solution. I'm proof that you guys already know how to build it. I'm a testimony to y'all's work. Everything I just asked you to do is how Caroline became Caroline. There are people in here who I have crawled in their arms to cry. There are people in here who gave me $100 a week when I lost my work permit. There are people here who let me run my bootleg cake decorating business when the government wouldn't let me work no more. This true story. There's Green Central Clinic that helped me be healthy. There's Fairview Riverside that forgave my medical debt. There's Kwanzaa Community Church that gave me spirituality when I was trying to raise my child. There's Seed Academy, where when I went to Ella and Eric Mahmoud, when I lost my work permit and said, I can't work, but I can't take my daughter out of this school, they let me file papers in the office in exchange for tuition. When I learned about depression and the people that protected me by not spreading it so that I could keep my job and get better, I am not here to judge, lecture. I'm proving to y'all that you already know how to do it. I am an ambassador of what you guys can do to the world. So this is not judgment and preachiness. I'm just reminding you of what you're capable of. And I'm only 40. My birthday was Saturday. So when you don't think you can, when I was Peter Hayden's assistant at Turning Point, and I decided to go to the HBCU in Texas, Peter said, go. You've seen me before. You built me, and you can build me again. Minnesota, I need y'all to take pride in what you're capable of. But what I need you to do in this day and age is not let it be an anomaly. I want this state to be known for not building broken adults, but by creating strong children.
Yes.
Nurturing them and sending them out. Minnesota has the opportunity to be the birthplace of people who can lead the world. And here's your case study. I love y'all, but I need some siblings.
Yes. Oh.
Go do it. You already know how.
Give them a round of applause. Thank
Bring
you.
everybody up here for Dallas.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hughes.
That's right.
All right, we are going to, if you'd like to, just those that would like to take some quick photos, you can, and then we are heading this direction, and then we're going to the next part of our program. Thank you very much. And there's a cash up. We'll do this so that we can keep the program moving. Those that are helping Dallas, very good. We appreciate that. Continue on. And we are going to go to the next phase of our program. Thank you. Come this way. Yep.
Well, you all, before we head out, we've come to a very important moment in our program where we will present awards and celebrate some change agents who have demonstrated outstanding leadership and volunteerism while making significant contributions, promoting peace, building cross-cultural relationships, and advancing human and civil rights. At this time, we're going to invite back Dr. Barrage to come to present our awards along with Mayor Melvin Carter of the city of St. Paul. Let's welcome them as they come to present the awards to these well-deserving honorees on this day.
All right, we are going to get started. Our first recipient was the first African-American Baptist church established in Minnesota. Founded during the Civil War, Pilgrim Baptist Church played a pivotal role in the Twin Cities community. Both the St. Paul Urban League and the NAACP were organized at the Pilgrim Baptist Church. Recently, they have been awarded membership to the National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom. Receiving the award on behalf of the congregation is Pastor Dr. Charles Gill. Thank you for your work.
Our next recipient is Jamie Becker Finn. Jamie is a founding member of the People of Color and Indigenous Caucus and the Queer Caucus. She has worked to champion issues on public defense, civil legal services, education, disability, and health across genders and people of color. We thank Jamie for her work. She's not present as she's under the weather, but let's celebrate her and thank God for her work.
Bo Tao Urabe is a consultant and former executive network director at the Coalition of Asian American Leaders, a small business entrepreneur and partner at Red Green Rivers and Sage Farm Market. For years, Bo has built and led local, national, and global efforts for change. Accepting on Bo's behalf is her daughter, Emmy. They are here. Wonderful. She's coming. Wonderful. Here we go.
Henry Jimenez is the executive director and president of the Latino Economic Development Center. He has dedicated his academic and professional life to advocating for advancing his community. During his tenure at CANDO, the Central Area Neighborhood Development Organization, Henry increased the budget, widened community outreach, and guided the development of several community-driven programs that continue to benefit residents today. Thank you for all of your hard work, Henry.
Thank you. Next, we have Kelly Drummer. Kelly is the president of McGizzy, which was started in 1977 with the mission of training young journalists to help overcome stereotypical portrayals of American Indians in mass media. During the civil unrest following the murder of George Floyd, the newly constructed location for McGizzy burned to the ground. Not wanting to let the kids down, Kelly showed remarkable leadership in finding a new temporary location while also looking for a new permanent location. Recently, the new location on Lake Street was reopened. Thank you for your work, Kelly.
Our next recipient is no stranger to work. Workabilities, Inc. is one of the most recognized training and rehabilitation programs in Minnesota. With over 29 years of service, they have coached countless individuals, helping patients who are medically fragile to those with complex physical needs. Thank you for your work, and we invite now Luna Ball to come and accept the award on behalf of the organization.
Our next recipient is the Metro Deaf School. The Metro Deaf School was the first deaf charter school in the country and is exceptional in every way. The Metro Deaf School meets the needs of deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind students. The school works actively with legislators and partners to ensure students have access to a great academic education and opportunities that go far beyond the classroom, so students can thrive. The Metro Deaf School serves a population of 15 students ranging in age from birth to 21, who come from 43 different resident school districts. Students reflect the full diversity of our state and experience the opportunity where they can communicate directly with every staff member and peer. Thank you for your work. Dr. Susan Outlaw will accept the award on behalf of the school. Please give them a round of applause.
Dr. Outlaw is not able to be here, but we continue to celebrate her. And she's making her way around. Let's just give a moment for Dr. Outlaw, and we'll celebrate her as she makes her way around.
I would sing, but we're not going to do that today. Not today. I don't know, Pastor McDavid, do you sing a little bit? Here we go. Yes, yes, here we go. Yes, yes. Oh, thank you.
We thank Dr. Outlaw for showing up just in time to save the ears of all of the people here. Now, finally, we bring to you a group that was founded in 1955 by two young Black professionals living in South Minneapolis. The Monitors Club is an organization centered on protecting the Black community, organized around three principles: civic, financial, and social. The Monitors Club primary mission is to support programs targeted at fostering and enhancing the academic, leadership, and social skills of youth within the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area. The club awards grants for programs at community-based organizations, and they also provide post-secondary scholarships to young adults. The Monitors are involved with forums with educational and political leaders and partners to bring people together to support the Black community. Thank you so much for your work, and please welcome their president, Robert Doty, to accept the award on behalf of the Monitors Club. If all the monitors in the house would stand as they accept their award.
Yes, yes.
And now let's close by thanking all of our award recipients one final time. Let's thank them for their dedication, for their work, their service, and their sacrifice. Indeed, may they all inspire each and every one of us to continue to do the work of carrying on the torch of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We leave today with our hearts full, so many messages that we heard, so many powerful moments of inspiration. We leave being reminded of the work of wonderful young people like Dallas. Let us continue to sow in and invest and be mindful of so many of the threats that are coming against our community and coming against the legacy of the history we were reminded of today. Let us never allow Dr. King's story to be forgotten. Let us never lose sight of his words of wisdom, hope, and inspiration. And may all of us heed within our own hearts our challenge to make sure that we are shaping and molding this world as we move from nightmare into dream. Now, finally, before we leave you, I know there's some folk in the house who are like me. How many folk are hungry today? There you go. I think that's an amen I can resonate with. Listen, I want to announce to all the hungry folks a very special initiative today. The council who's planned this event, they have partnered with local businesses to offer you a special treat. All you have to do is take your program today to one of our partner businesses. They are Cream Cafe, Soul Bowl, Pimento Jamaican Kitchen, Mama Sheila's House of Soul, Par 365, or Breakfast Bar. I'll read that again so you know where you can make your plans to eat. They are Cream's Cafe, Soul Bowl, Pimento Jamaican Kitchen, Mama Sheila's House of Soul, Par 365, or Breakfast Bar. If you take your program to any one of those establishments today, you'll receive a 5% discount on your meal just between the hours of 1 and 4 p.m. Don't bring your program tomorrow looking for a discount. Make your way to support one of our local businesses today to receive your discount between 1 and 4 p.m. If you did not receive a program, please scan the QR code that is on the screen before you so you can take advantage of that discount. We're getting ready to head out of here, but one more time, can we thank our hosts and our sponsors, all the wonderful volunteers, everyone who serves on the council, all those who performed today. Let's do better than that. Come on, were you not just full of the wonderful joy of this program? And as we leave, thank you again for sacrificing your holiday, for braving the cold. And let us always remember, one dream, one Minnesota. The Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church Choir is going to take us home. Let's stand and sing with them as we head out into the week that awaits us.
Every time I turn around,